Thoughts about stocks. So I don't quite believe in probability for our day-to-day life, making decisions solely based on probability. But I think for stocks, the market in general, that makes a lot of sense. I feel like looking at a few rules and sort of thinking about ways that people lose money, generally questionable practices. And the opposite seems to make sense, right? Take, for example, options. So, options are risky. Most people lose money buying options. The vast majority lose money buying options. And so, why don't you do the opposite of them? Sell options. If people lose money buying options, then aren't the sellers winning? I mean, there are scenarios in which nobody wins, right? The middleman wins. But in this case, given the advent of all these newer brokerages that charge very low fees, there are not tremendous prices involved in options. To add on that, if long term is the best idea, right, then you should be selling options for the short term because that's more likely to lose money, right? Lastly, if selling options is a good idea because buying options is a bad idea, if having longer terms is a good idea and shorter terms is a bad idea, thus you want to sell shorter term options, what about the cost? Smaller amounts is a better idea because larger amounts make more sense. I don't know. I mean, I don't think there's a general rule to that. But I think the idea is buying penny stocks is usually a bad idea. The selling penny stocks would be a good idea. So I think there's all these considerations, if you will. And while this is not based on whatever science or evidence they have in stocks, right? Just based on rules of thumb and opposing them, right? Because if you look at probability and the way the world works, so you have all these rules and they generally work like don't drive fast. That's more dangerous. But every now and a while, driving fast is actually a good idea, right? Like if you're being chased by a cheetah in the wild. Actually, I don't know. Because your car isn't protected. But I guess if you're in a safari, you're probably not really protected. It's probably open air. It's like a Jeep or something. But I would say that most rules have exceptions. But regulations are still there for a reason because they're generally true. Not always true. And so with options, right? Most people will buy options because they want to get rich quick. You look at the earnings that are possible and it says infinity. Losses, just a little bit of money. Basically, the brokerage trading app is recommending it. Whereas me looking at selling options, losses possible, infinite. Gains, minimal amount of money, fixed. Why does anybody want to do that, right? And that's because of probability. If everything is guaranteed to go up, then it's easy to bet on a market. But the market fluctuates even when it's going up. It doesn't necessarily go up every single day. And then there's the idea of talking about index funds or groups or baskets of funds versus individual stocks. Individual stocks are dangerous. It's better to buy S&P 500 index. So says many people, including Warren Buffett. But if you look at people who have the most outside gains, it's individual stocks, but maybe they just got lucky. It's always easy to praise people in hindsight, whereas they may have lost in another alternate universe if events didn't occur in the same sequence. So You trade options, as in sell options, on the individual stocks, not index funds. So there's all these things to think about. There's all these strategies out there. My friend mentioned dogs of the Dow, where you rely on dividends. And just buy the lowest performers on the Dow, because they still have dividends. Long term, I don't know if that's a good strategy or not. I bought some Dow stocks, didn't turn out well. So now I switched to buying tech stocks, which can grow. No dividends, and I sell options on them, covered calls. And I'm betting on the fact that most generations in the stock market are true. Not always, but mostly true. And it's good enough for me. Because otherwise, there's really no strategy. You can't predict the future. All these rules, all these technical analyses, in today's world of virality, when a bunch of traders on Reddit, Robinhood, can push up meme stocks to extraordinary amounts, beating out retail trailers, shall we say, even supposedly beating out institutions. Yeah, who's gonna come up with a rule for that? An analysis piece for that? Who's gonna be able to say, I predicted that? Nobody. So that's why I do what I do.